Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something today that could change your life if you really listen. We live in a world where everybody wants to talk, everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to be heard. But very few people are actually working on themselves. The truth is, the loudest people are usually the ones doing the least. And the people who are truly focused, they're moving in silence. Protecting your dreams by keeping them private until they are strong enough to stand on their own is one of the most powerful lessons anyone can learn. Dreams are fragile in their early stages. They are like seeds, full of potential, but easily crushed if exposed too soon. When you first envision something great for your life, it often feels exciting, but it is also vulnerable. Sharing it too early can open the door to criticism, doubt, or even jealousy, which can weaken your belief in yourself before the dream has had the chance to grow roots. People around you may not always see what you see, and because they cannot understand the fire in your heart, they might unintentionally or even intentionally discourage you. That is why silence is a form of protection. It is not about hiding forever, but about giving your vision time to gain strength, stability, and clarity before the world has a chance to touch it. When you guard your dreams, you are giving them space to breathe. Think about a young tree. It starts as a small, delicate sprout. If you expose it too soon to harsh winds, heavy footsteps, or careless handling, it may not survive. But if you protect it, water it, and give it the care it needs, over time it becomes a strong tree that can withstand storms. Your dream works the same way. In the beginning, it needs nurturing. It needs focus. It needs you to pour energy, discipline, and consistency into it quietly. When you tell too many people too soon, you risk allowing their doubts to cloud your vision. Their words may plant seeds of fear in your mind, and before you know it, you're questioning something that was never wrong to begin with. Another reason to protect your dreams is that not everyone has good intentions. Some people listen to what you build and only to find a way to use it for themselves. Others might laugh at your ambition simply because they couldn't achieve their own. Some may even try to pull you down to keep you on their level, because your growth exposes their lack of effort. By keeping your vision private, you avoid giving others the chance to poison it before it has the foundation to survive. Silence gives you control, and in that control, you find peace to build without interference. Focusing on your dreams privately also sharpens your discipline. When you are not performing for applause or recognition, you are forced to work purely for the result. This builds a kind of authenticity in you. You are no longer chasing validation from the outside world. You are chasing growth, progress, and mastery within yourself. The silence strips away the noise of expectation unless you hear your own rhythm. You become tuned in to your own energy, your own strength, and your own vision. You begin to trust yourself more deeply because your progress is between you and the work, not between you and the opinions of others. There is also a spiritual power in protecting your dreams with silence. When you do not broadcast every move you make, you allow yourself to walk by faith instead of depending on human approval. You create space for divine timing, for God's hand to guide you without interference from outside voices. Many times, the path you are on won't make sense to other people. They won't understand why you are working late nights, why you are turning down certain opportunities, or why you are sacrificing comfort for growth. But you don't need them to understand. You only need to stay obedient to your calling, and silence allows you to do that without distraction. Protecting your dreams is not about being secretive for no reason. It is about recognizing that everything valuable in life requires a season of quiet development. Just like a baby grows in the womb before entering the world, your vision must grow in the dark before it can face the light. If you take it out too soon, it may not be ready. And that unprepared exposure can lead to failure that wasn't necessary. By keeping it private until it is strong, you give it the chance to mature into something undeniable, something unshakable, something that no outside force can easily destroy. Silence is a shield against negativity, distractions, and unnecessary drama because it creates a barrier between you and the noise of the world. In today's environment, where people constantly voice their opinions, criticize others, and look for ways to insert themselves into your business, silence becomes a weapon of strength. When you choose not to respond to every word, every insult, or every distraction, you are protecting your peace and conserving your energy for the things that actually matter. Many times people lose battles not because they are weak, but because they allowed themselves to be dragged into conflicts that never deserved their attention in the first place. Arguments, gossip, and criticism only have power if you give them power. The moment you stay silent, you take that power away and keep control of your emotions. Negativity will always surround people who are trying to grow. When you start climbing higher in life, others notice, and not everyone will celebrate you. Some will try to pull you back down because your progress exposes their lack of effort. Others may envy what you are doing and project their insecurities onto you. If you try to answer every negative voice, you will waste valuable time and emotional energy that could have been spent on building your dream. Silence protects you from that trap. By staying quiet, you are refusing to let outside noise into your spirit. You are refusing to let someone else's bitterness derail your journey. The shield of silence keeps your focus on your path and not on the shadows thrown by others. Distractions come in many forms, and one of the most dangerous is unnecessary conversations. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every opinion deserves a response. When you speak too much or feel the need to answer everything, you open the door to more distractions. Silence, on the other hand, closes that door. It allows you to filter what truly matters. It helps you avoid wasting mental space on people or problems that don't deserve your energy. For example, when someone questions your ability or mocks your vision, silence becomes the strongest answer because it denies them the attention they seek. Instead of explaining yourself, you let your results speak for you in time. That discipline saves you from being sidetracked. Unnecessary drama is another trap that silence protects you from. Drama thrives on reaction. People who live for gossip, conflict, or attention depend on others to feed the fire. The moment you respond, you add fuel. But when you remain silent, the fire begins to die out because there is nothing left to burn. Silence is not weakness in these situations. It is strength. It takes maturity to resist the urge to prove yourself in every moment or defend yourself against every attack. When you are truly focused on your purpose, you realize that not everything deserves your voice. Sometimes the most powerful statement is made without a single word. Silence also strengthens your mind. When you are not consumed with arguing, defending, or responding, you gain clarity. You have more room to think, to strategize, to plan. Your mind becomes less cluttered with noise and more centered on solutions. Instead of reacting to negativity, you channel your energy into creating, growing, and moving forward. This shift in focus makes you more productive and more peaceful. By staying silent, you protect your vision from being clouded by distractions and instead give it the space to flourish. There is also wisdom in silence. It teaches you patience and discernment. You learn that not every action requires an immediate reaction, and not every voice deserves a reply. Sometimes silence allows you to observe and understand situations better than if you rushed into speaking. It gives you the ability to see people's true intentions, because while you are quiet, others reveal themselves. Silence becomes a shield, not only because it protects you, but because it gives you insight into who and what you are dealing with. That awareness keeps you from walking blindly into traps set by negativity and drama. By using silence as a shield, you maintain your strength and dignity. You protect your inner peace from outside forces that would love to steal it. You save yourself from battles that would only drain you and keep you from your purpose. You create an environment where your energy is invested wisely, where your focus remains sharp, and where your progress is not slowed down by distractions that hold no real value. Real growth happens when you focus inward, not when you seek outside validation, because growth is deeply personal and rooted in the work you do when no one is watching. The world often teaches us to measure success by likes, applause, or recognition from others. But the truth is those things are temporary and can disappear in a moment. If your motivation comes from external validation, you will constantly find yourself chasing approval rather than progress. Real growth happens in silence, in those private moments when you are choosing discipline over comfort, when you are pushing yourself even when no one is clapping for you. That is where character is built, and that is where true transformation takes place. When you are focused inward, you are connected to your own goals, your own vision, and your own potential. You are not comparing your journey to the journey of others, and you are not measuring your worth by what people say about you. Comparison steals your energy and keeps you from appreciating your progress. Validation from others can make you feel good temporarily, but it does not last, and it does not build real confidence. Real confidence comes when you know you have put in the work, when you know you are better today than you were yesterday, and when you know your growth is fueled by your own effort. This kind of confidence is unshakable because it doesn't rely on outside approval. It comes from within. Focusing inward also allows you to develop self-awareness. Growth is not only about achieving goals, it's also about understanding yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, habits, and patterns. When you look inward, you begin to see where you need improvement and where you have the potential to excel. This awareness gives you the power to make better choices. You start spending your time more wisely, surrounding yourself with the right people, and eliminating behaviors that hold you back. Without this inward focus, you may spend years chasing validation without ever addressing the parts of yourself that need real change. Growth requires honesty, and honesty requires silence with yourself. Seeking validation, on the other hand, creates a cycle of dependency. When you rely on others to feel good about yourself, you lose control of your own happiness. The moment people stop cheering, you begin to doubt yourself and your confidence crumbles. But when your growth comes from within, it does not matter if people recognize it or not. You know the effort you've put in, you know the sacrifice you've made, and you know the progress you've achieved. That knowledge cannot be taken away from you because it is rooted in your own discipline, not in the opinions of others. The most successful people are often those who spend long periods of time working in silence, away from the spotlight, perfecting their craft. They understand that growth is not glamorous, and it is not always recognized immediately. It happens in the gym when no one is watching, in the late nights of study when no one is around, in the hours of practice when there is no applause. By the time the world sees the results, the real work has already been done in private. That is the essence of true growth, when you are building something within yourself that is strong enough to withstand the storms of life, regardless of who notices. Focusing inward also strengthens resilience. When setbacks come, and they always do, a person who seeks validation may crumble because they feel embarrassed or judged by others. But a person who has been focused inward is not defined by external opinions. They are driven by their purpose and their personal commitment. So even when failure happens, they rise again. Their strength comes from knowing that growth is a process, not a performance for others. This resilience is what keeps them moving forward even when the path is hard. Real growth requires patience, and patience comes easier when you are focused inward. When you are not constantly looking for validation, you stop rushing the process just to prove something to others. Instead, you embrace the journey and allow yourself to evolve naturally. You understand that true change takes time, discipline, and consistency. You begin to value the process as much as the result. And in that process, you build lasting habits that shape your character and your future. By focusing inward, you create growth that is authentic, unshakable, and deeply rewarding. Success speaks for itself. Your results will always be louder than your words because no explanation or defense is more powerful than proof. People can argue with your opinions, they can doubt your intentions, and they can question your abilities, but they cannot deny the evidence of what you have achieved. When you allow your results to speak, you rise above the noise of criticism, negativity, and doubt. Words can be twisted, ignored, or forgotten, but results remain. They stand as living proof of your dedication, your consistency, and your determination. Success doesn't need an introduction because it commands respect on its own, and that is why it is always better to stay focused on the work than to waste energy trying to convince people who may never believe in you. There will always be individuals who don't see your potential, who underestimate you, or who dismiss your dreams as unrealistic. If you try to argue with them, you end up drained and distracted, and most of the time, their opinions remain unchanged. Instead of explaining your vision to people who are not willing to see it, put that energy into building. Let your progress become the answer to their doubts. When people see you succeed, they have no choice but to acknowledge what you have done, even if they don't admit it out loud. Success forces people to respect the very things they once mocked. It silences criticism in a way that words never could. Your results also inspire others more effectively than your speeches ever could. When people see tangible proof of what you've accomplished, it motivates them to believe that they can achieve something too. Words may encourage them temporarily, but results show them the reality of what discipline and perseverance can create. The world listens more closely to someone who has walked the path than to someone who simply talks about it. That is why your energy is better spent on producing results than on talking about your intentions. Success also builds credibility. In every area of life, business, relationships, personal growth, people respect those who have proven themselves through action. Anyone can promise, but not everyone can deliver. Anyone can speak, but not everyone can show evidence. When you have results, you don't have to explain your worth because your work does the explaining for you. It's like planting a garden. You don't need to convince people you've been working hard if they can see the fruit growing on the tree. The results are visible and undeniable, and they make your effort clear without you saying a word. Another powerful truth about results is that they outlast words. People may forget what you said, but they will remember what you achieved. The houses you build, the businesses you grow, the impact you make, the lives you change. These are lasting legacies that speak for generations. Words fade, but results echo long after you are gone. When you focus on achieving instead of convincing, you leave behind something real that no one can erase. Results are also a defense against envy and doubt. When people question whether you can do something, the best way to answer is not with arguments, but with results. It removes the need to justify yourself, shifts the conversation from what you say you can do to what you have already done. Results eliminate debate because they are facts, and facts are stronger than opinions. That is why people who achieve silently often end up with more respect than those who spend time trying to persuade others with empty words. Success that speaks for itself also gives you peace of mind. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself constantly because your work has already proven you. Instead of chasing validation, you live in the confidence of knowing that your results are enough. This peace allows you to focus even more deeply on your next goals without distraction. It creates a cycle of growth where each result builds credibility for the next stage, and the noise of doubt grows quieter and quieter in the presence of undeniable proof. When you let your results speak, you shift your focus from pleasing people to fulfilling your purpose. You no longer measure your progress by applause, but by the goals you achieve. This mindset keeps you disciplined, patient, and consistent because you know the true reward is not the recognition of others, but the reality of success itself. Your results will always carry more weight than your promises, and they will always tell your story louder than your words ever could. Not everyone wants to see you win, so don't give them access to your vision too early, because the reality is that the world is filled with mixed intentions. Some people genuinely want the best for you, but many others secretly hope you don't succeed because your progress exposes their lack of effort or makes them feel insecure about their own lives. When you share your dreams too early, you open the door to their doubts, their negativity, and in some cases, their jealousy. Instead of being encouraged, you may find yourself surrounded by criticism that can plant seeds of doubt in your own mind. A dream is fragile in the beginning stages, and if you hand it over too soon to people who don't want to see it grow, you risk allowing their disbelief to weaken your confidence before you've even had the chance to prove yourself. Every vision has a season of development, and during that season, it requires privacy and protection. Imagine planting a seed in the soil. At first, it is hidden, safe from the outside world, quietly developing roots that will sustain it later. If you dig it up too soon to show it off, you kill the very thing you're trying to grow. Your dreams work the same way. If you expose them before they're strong enough to stand, you may lose them to the harshness of criticism or envy. Keeping them private is not about secrecy for the sake of secrecy. It's about understanding that timing is everything. There is a time to dream quietly, and there will be a time to reveal boldly. But those two moments are not the same. Another reason to keep your vision private is that some people are not just doubters, they are competitors. They may take your ideas, your creativity, or your plans and try to use them for themselves before you've had the chance to establish them. This doesn't mean you should live in fear of everyone, but it does mean you need discernment about who deserves to hear what you're working on. Your vision is valuable, and valuable things should not be given away carelessly. When you protect your ideas and your dreams, you give yourself the time to build a foundation that no one else can copy or take away. There is also an emotional cost to sharing too soon. When you tell others about your vision and they respond with doubt or negativity, it can drain your energy and shake your belief. You may find yourself spending more time defending your dream than actually working on it. This creates unnecessary pressure because now your dream is not only yours, it has become subject to the opinions of others. Protecting your vision means keeping it free from that weight until you are strong enough to carry it no matter what anyone says. Silence in the early stages also helps you maintain focus. When you stop announcing every step, you take away the distraction of waiting for people's reactions. You're no longer working for applause or worried about criticism. You're working purely for progress. This pure focus allows you to grow faster and more authentically because the only validation you seek is from your own discipline and the results you create. In silence, you can hear your own thoughts, your own calling, and your own guidance much clearer than when you're surrounded by external noise. Protecting your vision also gives you freedom. When you share your plans, people begin to expect things from you. They hold you accountable to their timelines, their opinions, and their understanding of success. But when you keep your vision private, you are free to move at your own pace. You can adjust, fail, learn, and try again without the weight of other people watching and judging. That freedom is essential because real growth is messy. It involves mistakes, setbacks, and lessons, and those are best handled in private, where you can recover without pressure. The truth is, the fewer people who know your vision in the early stages, the stronger it becomes. Once it has roots, once it has grown into something undeniable, then you can share it with confidence, because by that point, no amount of doubt or negativity can stop it. Until then, your responsibility is to guard it, nurture it, and protect it from those who don't want to see you win. Focusing on yourself isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect and discipline, because it means you value your own growth enough to make it a priority. Too often, people confuse self-focus with arrogance or greed, but the truth is that when you take time to build yourself, you are investing in the foundation of everything else in your life. You cannot pour into others if your own cup is empty, and you cannot create lasting impact if you are constantly neglecting your own needs, goals, and dreams. Choosing to focus on yourself is not about ignoring people. It is about understanding that the best version of you is what will benefit your family, your career, and your future the most. Self-focus begins with discipline. It requires you to set boundaries, to say no when distractions threaten your growth, and to commit to habits that move you forward even when they're uncomfortable. Discipline is not easy because it often means sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term fulfillment, but it is the essence of self-respect. When you respect yourself, you do not allow laziness, negativity, or lack of effort to rob you of your potential. You wake up each day knowing that you owe it to yourself to give your best, not because anyone is watching, but because you know your life has value and meaning. Focusing on yourself also means protecting your energy. Every day, people will pull at your time, your attention, and your emotions. If you give yourself away carelessly, you will be drained and unable to grow. Protecting your energy does not make you selfish, it makes you wise. It means you recognize what drains you and what fuels you, and you choose to invest in the things that build you up instead of the things that tear you down. Whether it is avoiding toxic relationships, saying no to distractions, or limiting your exposure to negativity, protecting your energy is one of the purest forms of self-care and self-respect. Another part of focusing on yourself is developing your gifts. Every person has talents, skills, and potential, but too many people waste them because they spend their lives comparing themselves to others instead of working on their own lane. When you focus inward, you give yourself the chance to discover what makes you unique and valuable. You take time to practice, to improve, and to master what you've been given. That dedication not only benefits you, but eventually benefits everyone around you, because the world needs people who are walking fully in their purpose. Focusing on yourself also helps you build confidence that cannot be shaken by outside opinions. When your identity is based on external validation, you are vulnerable to every criticism and judgment. But when your confidence is rooted in the work you've put in and the growth you've experienced, it becomes unshakable. You know who you are, you know what you've overcome, and you know what you are building. This kind of confidence is not arrogance, it is peace. It is the calm assurance that comes from discipline, consistency, and self-respect. There is also freedom in focusing on yourself. You stop living for the approval of others and start living according to your own values and purpose. This freedom allows you to pursue your dreams without being weighed down by other people's expectations. It gives you the courage to walk away from situations that do not serve your growth and the strength to keep moving forward, even when others don't understand. And freedom comes when you realize you don't need to explain your journey to everyone. You only need to stay true to your own calling. Most importantly, focusing on yourself prepares you to give more to others in the long run. When you are disciplined, strong, and fulfilled, you become a better parent, partner, friend, and leader. You are able to give from a place of abundance instead of exhaustion. This is why self-focus is not selfish. It is necessary. It ensures that you are whole, stable, and capable of handling the responsibilities that come with success. By respecting yourself enough to grow, you position yourself to make a greater impact on the people and the world around you.